Alrighty, what is up, people? This is, of course, your boy Bernie here on The Charge, giving you the latest NBA. Well, actually, we're going to go college route today. It is the college NBA news and rumors, and obviously, we're doing a bracket challenge here today, guys. We're just going to wait just a little bit longer before we get started. Again, we won't know the official brackets until tomorrow, Wednesday, I believe, because that's when the first 14 games will be played. And there's going to be a fun week of events. I know that, especially during the school time, it was always fun during that moment to watch the NCAA tournament while school was going on. I know that that's something that, it's kind of been lost a little bit. I know that they try to avoid that because they don't want kids glued to their screens during it, but it was always a fun time, at least for me and my friends, when we would watch the NCAA tournament, watch the teams that would play. And of course, it is a tournament filled with a lot of highs, a lot of lows, and really it gives the sense of belief that any team can win this tournament, right? Because at the end of the day, this tournament is about what team can get hot the quickest and what team has the best, I would say, guards in order to win this whole tournament. Offensively, I believe, according to the metrics, I believe you have to be in the top 10 in KPOM ratings for offense, and if you are not even in that vicinity, or maybe it's top 20 in KPOM ratings. I know there's a lot of like nuanced stuff that goes on in the KPOM ratings, so we're going to be looking at each matchup in the first round at least, and then it kind of builds on to the next thing that we'll talk about. And before we do that, please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Again, all this stuff helps out the channel tremendously and lets people know that you're interested in this channel. Again, we are trying to grow this channel to be something special, something cool. And obviously with my season being over, it allows me to spend a little more time here on the channel. And again, I do apologize that the streams have not been consistent. We streamed last night a little bit about the Cam Reddish news. Hopefully you guys did get to enjoy that just a little bit. And we're going to quickly just move on to the other stuff. I just want to make sure that there was nothing of note, I would say, in terms of the NBA news and rumors and basketball opinions. Alabama claims the top overall seed. Nothing really too crazy. Damian Stoudemire, congrats to him. He's going to be leaving the Boston Celtics, unfortunately for me, but fortunate for him that he's going to get a great job coaching at Georgia Tech. I'm not sure if he's an alum from there, but it is cool that he is going to be doing that, because Stoudemire was also a candidate to become the head coach of Arizona before they hired Tommy Lloyd. So again, well-qualified coach, getting an opportunity. Can never hate on a guy for getting an opportunity, man. So congrats to him, Damon Stoudemire, for getting an opportunity at Georgia Tech. I know that he's been looking to get into in the college game, it looks like, because he tried to go to Arizona. But I'm glad that he is able to finally get that job at Georgia Tech. So it is a fun thing to watch and admire from afar. So again, congrats to Damon Stoudemire, as he is now officially the head coach of the Georgia Tech. I believe, what are they again? The Yellow Jackets? Is that what they are? I can't remember. Let's see. Georgia Tech mascot. I think they're the yellow. Well, let's see. What are they? The Ramblin' Wreck. But I believe they are the Yellow Jackets. I believe. Yep, Yellow Jackets. All right. With that out of the way, of course, you guys are here none other than to watch this NCAA tournament. Find out who's going to be in your bracket, who's your winners, who's your biggest losers, and which teams got seeded very high. I think that there's a lot of conversations to be had about each and every one of these teams. And again, I have notes here. I've did a little more research. Again, I promised you guys more research. I did it throughout the day, throughout the night. And I really wanted to get a good sense of these teams and really get a good sense of, what team is really bound to make a big impression for everybody here in the tournament. So without further ado, let's get started here. And like I said, before we get started, please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Again, all this stuff helps out the channel tremendously and lets people know that you're interested in the channel. And everybody, here we go. This is officially going to be my bracket for the NCAA tournament. Me and my friends have created this group. We're going to go through it. We're going to really get into who I think is going to win and things like that. But without further ado, let's get started here on The Charge as we move on to the first round. Alrighty. So for my first pick, obviously we have Alabama versus, I can't remember these two teams. I know one of them is a Texas school, believe called the Islanders, the only school I believe in college basketball called the Islanders. So that's a team that I think will potentially make it. But at the end of the day, we all know that Alabama, they won big in the SEC tournament. They're the most informed team right now. Offensively, defensively, they are one of the best teams. I think if we look at the KPOM ratings, they have a defensive rating that's, outside the top 10, but it's still a great rating. We also know that Brandon Miller is, whatever you think about his situation, he is obviously one of the best players in college basketball. And when you have one of those type of guys on your team, you're guaranteed to win. I got Alabama winning this game. Can't tell you the spread because I'm not really one of those guys that does a lot of sports betting, but I could probably tell you it's going to be big. I'm probably going with the +10 for Alabama moving forward. Next, we have Maryland and West Virginia. Again, this is a team for an 8 and 9 seed going at each other. 21 and 12 for Maryland and 19 and 14 for West Virginia. You would think that West Virginia would be kind of like a little bit of a topsy-turvy team, but my concern with Maryland is that it is a very weak Big 10 conference. I'm not too sure what they're going to be doing this tournament. They're very up and down. They're in the mid 30s for their KPOM ratings. Again, nothing to sneeze at. Very solid ratings, but at the same time, I'm going to go with an upset here. I'm going to go with West Virginia winning here. I just think that they play in a much tougher conference, and you'll kind of see a theme here with my bracket in a sense, and I don't want to spoil it for the rest of it, but you're going to find out a particular bracket. You're going to find out a particular pattern or, things I like or dislike about a certain conference, and you'll find out what conference that is relatively soon. Let's see here. We got Charleston versus San Diego State. I think San Diego State wins big. Charleston's okay, but I just don't think that they are a strong enough team. I know that they're 31 and 3. I know they have won a lot of games, but if we look at the BPI ranks, if we look at their conference ranks and points per game, I know that the metrics say that Charleston is going to be a good team in this conference or in this game. But I don't know what type of teams they've been playing against in their conference. So I'm going to go with the obvious choice here. I'm going to go with San Diego State winning, but I'm not too convinced with the Aztecs for them to move on past this round maybe as we move forward into the next game. The next game we have is, of course, Virginia versus Furham. Virginia, I feel like, is the biggest fraud 4 seed in this tournament. I watched them play in the ACC. I am not convinced with this team whatsoever that they are a team that really can carry and propel a team past maybe the second or third round. My worry for them is offensively, they are outside of the top 70. And if you know anything, like I just said earlier, you know that you need to at least have like a top 20 KPOM rating, and the guard play needs to be outstanding. I don't necessarily see that from Virginia. Now, does that mean that Furham is going to be a team that beats them? Probably not. I think that they are a team that has never played a top 25 team. Their BPI rank is abysmal, 92 in the country. I know they put up a ton of points, but they also give up a lot of points. And again, I think that if there was any chance of Furham beating a team, I think it would be this Virginia team. The reason why I think Virginia is probably susceptible to a upset is because offensively they struggle. And when you're a struggling offensive team, it is tough to get buckets. But I just think that ultimately, I think Virginia does it. I think Furham is just not strong enough yet to compete with this Virginia team. I got Virginia winning this round against Furham. Now we got Creighton versus NC State. Creighton is a top 20 team defensively, top 30 offensively. I just think that NC State kind of snuck into the tournament at the very end. They're a solid team. They're probably the best Carolina team in this tournament. Obviously with UNC being out and, being fraudulent in their season. But I think Creighton should win this game. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I think Creighton will win this game. I don't necessarily see this game really going any other way. And of course, Creighton plays in the Big East, which was a very tough conference this year. Even though they're 5-7 versus the top 25, the Big East is a strong conference. I have no doubt in my mind that Creighton will do the job. They score a lot of points. They also defensively do a great job, like we talked about in their KPOM ratings. It's got to be Creighton. Now let's move on to let me see if I can find it. Utah State versus Missouri. I think that this is going to be a very interesting game because I think offensively, I see it from Utah State. Like offensively, they seem very solid. Again, 0-2 against the top 25, so that's a little bit of a concern. Missouri 6-4. I think that that's got to say something about it. I just think that also another thing that kind of goes against Missouri's luck in this tournament, I would say, is, and it's really the luck. Like according to the KPOM ratings, they were one of the luckiest teams out there because of how close some of their games were. If you watched or looked at some of them, they were single-digit wins. They were just kind of pull-it-out games, especially with the free throw line game kind of being strong with this team. I think that this could be a upset alert, and I got Utah State winning this game by a big bunch. One game I actually did forget to mention was, of course, the Baylor and the Gauchos of Santa Barbara. I think Baylor wins. My concern with Baylor is that defensively, this is not the same team that it was a couple years back with Davion Mitchell. They're strong offensively, but defensively, I think that they are not good. I just think that also the thing that kind of hurts the Gauchos a lot is that they are ranked 175 in the KPOM defensive ratings. Like that's got to tell you something. They're not a very good defensively sound team, and this is definitely not one of those teams that could potentially make an upset. They're not a great three-point shooting team. I don't think that this is a team that could potentially take it further than having a nice first-round exit. It was nice to see you, Gauchos. I got Baylor winning this game by a decent amount. I think that this is going to be I'm going to say that this is going to be a 15-point win for the Baylor Bears. I could be totally wrong, and feel free to call me out in the comment section if that is completely wrong. Arizona versus Princeton. Again, Arizona top 4 in the offense, top 50 defensively. I think that this is a team that could potentially be a dark horse for winning this whole tournament. What I like about them the most is that they have good guard play. They have solid bigs. Tommy Lloyd has done a great job at the Arizona program. They're one of the only two teams I really trust in the Pac-12 right now. Them and UCLA are the only two teams that'll kind of spoil my UCLA pick a little bit. I just don't necessarily see it from Princeton. I think they're okay, but when you're offensively outside the top 100, it's going to be tough to beat these teams. And you can clearly see that when we look at points per game. Arizona scores a lot more. They may give up a little bit more, but they are 6-1 against the top 25. Tommy Lloyd's got this team cooking on all cylinders, cooking with grease. Meanwhile, the BPI rankings for Princeton is very low, and in conference they're 10-4. And again, Ivy League versus Pac-12. I know the Pac-12 isn't as strong as it used to be, but I got Princeton losing to the Arizona Wildcats. I got Arizona winning. I want to say that this is going to be a double-digit loss. I'm going to go with a 15-point win for the Arizona Wildcats. And people, let me know what you guys think of the South region. I'm going to break these up into little videos. Let me know what you guys think of the South region. Do you guys agree so far with my picks? Give me a yes or no in the comment section down below. Give me a 1 if you like them. Give me a 2 if you dislike it. And also let me know who your biggest sleepers are in this league. I would love to know your comments and opinions in the comment section down below. And I guess I might as well just finish this. Alabama for sure is going to get in there. I don't see them not making the Sweet 16. I think that they're just too strong. San Diego State, I think, squeaks by just because, again, Virginia offensively is just very suspect. I don't see them winning at all. Creighton could potentially make a deeper run, so I got Creighton in there. I know that they're, Baylor's offensively is still down. They're still one of the better teams out there. And so to me, I just think that the Baylor Bears defensively are just going to lack between each other. And again, if we look at the numbers here, I just think that this is going to be this is a toss-up game, man. This is going to be who's going to make the most shots. I trust Creighton a little bit more. I just feel like they have this type of chutzpah to get them through it. And that's the reason why I have Creighton winning, even though Baylor, again, played in a very competitive Big 12 conference, obviously with Kansas and Texas. But I got Creighton winning that game. And then I got Arizona winning. Arizona's going to win. They're going to make it to the Sweet 16. And then if we're going to keep going, we got Alabama winning it, and then we got Arizona. going into the, I believe, the Elite Eight. I just think that they're going to be doing it. And then surprisingly, I got Arizona winning and going into the Final Four. I just have a feeling about this Arizona team. I think after last season, after getting a little bit of embarrassed in this tournament, I just think that they're going to make a little bit of a comeback. And so I got Arizona as my first Final Four team out of the South Conference. I know Alabama has the home court advantage. I know that they're playing very well, but something about Alabama at the end of it is going to be off. I think that when we look at it, 6-1 versus 7-4, I know that there was a lot more top teams in there. But when you score the same amount of points, I mean, this is, again, another toss-up game, but okay, I just trust the coaching of Tommy Lloyd here to get them through. So I got Arizona going to the Final Four as the first team. Let me know if I'm right. Let me know if I'm wrong in the comment section down below. Okay, let's move on. Now we're going to be moving on to the East region. This is going to be a very interesting one as we have Purdue going against Texas. Let me make sure I got this right in the order that I need it. I think Purdue will win this game. I'm not worried about them in the first round. I just think the later rounds are going to be the bigger issues for them. Again, offensively and defensively solid. K-Palm ratings are great, but tempo-wise, I think they're one of the slowest. And I really don't know about their great guard play. You know, obviously their Edey is their best big. I think he's one of the best players in college. But for this tournament, I just feel like you need a guard to win this tournament. And I don't think Purdue has strong enough guards to win it. And so even though Purdue wins this round, I'm worried about them moving forward. And this is going to be a very interesting thing to continue to monitor as we move on throughout the tournament. Next game we got is Memphis versus FAU. I think that this one is going to unlock a potential giant. I think Memphis did a great job. I think that this is going to be a very interesting situation. Again, Memphis, 8 versus 9. Clearly the better team here. I just think Memphis, again, against top 25 teams, they've played. They're 2-3 against them. Points per game offensively is very solid. Defensively, not so much, but BPI rankings a little bit higher. Conference, they're 13-5. I know FAU went 31-3, but I don't know. I'm not convinced with it. And so I got Memphis winning this, and so I got Memphis over FAU, and they'll take on Purdue in the next round. Duke versus Oral Roberts. I think Duke wins this one. I know Oral Roberts is a nice story. They're 30-4. They did really well, but Duke right now is going on a little bit of a surge. We know that they went on a big run. They won the ACC tournament, something that you would have thought earlier in the season with the way that they were struggling that they would never win. Jeremy Roach is playing very well for them. Again, great guard play is what you're going to need. And so to me, I just think that Duke will continue this form. They'll continue to run. And I got the Duke Blue Devils winning this against Oral Roberts in that round. Tennessee versus Louisiana. I think that Tennessee is one of the weaker 4 seeds in this tournament. 23-10. I thought Texas A&M played a little bit better, and we'll spoil Texas A&M down the line. I know they went 5-3 against top 25 teams. I know their BPI is number 2 in the country, but 11-7 in the conference is a little concerning. I think offensively they're going to struggle a little bit. I don't really have faith in them. Top 50 offense in the K-Palm ratings. They're going to win this game for sure. I'd have no doubt about this game. But next round, I think, is going to be a little bit of a tough situation, and we'll get a little more into it as we continue to monitor as we get going here. And we'll continue to move on to the next round, or I guess the next part of it. We got Kentucky versus Providence. This one, if I look at kind of my notes that I had for this one, Calipari has an opportunity to make a little bit of a run with this team. They're 2-4 against the top 25 team, 16 in BPI, 12-6 in the conference. Not, similar to me as like a Tennessee team. I think Providence is great, but has a below average defense. I know they played in a tough conference, but I got to give it to the Wildcats here. I know it's a little bit of an SEC bias, but I just don't think Providence has the chutzpah to get them over the top. And so I think Kentucky Wildcats win this game. Kansas State versus Montana State. This is a great guard situation for Kansas State. I think they have great guards. They played in a competitive and tough Big 12. If we look at the stats here for Kansas State, they have one of the best from half court hoops. He talked about it. They're one of the best lob teams in the country. 7-5 against the top 25, 29 in KPOM. 29th in BPI rankings. I definitely have Kansas State winning this one. I just don't, Montana State, they played in, I think, a really big overtime game. But I just don't know if they have what it takes. I think defensively they're solid, but against the top 25, they just can't do it. And so to me, Kansas State wins this one easily. Michigan State versus USC. Only two teams I trust in the Pac-12. UCLA and Arizona. I don't know how you can trust this USC team at all. BPI 54, conference 14-6. Again, against the top 25, that's where I kind of look at it. 2-4 against them. I think everything goes against the Trojans' way. If we look at kind of the seedings, power rankings, and all this stuff, we can even look at what little things were said. The Trojans are the rare team in the rankings in the top 50 in both offensive and defensive efficiency, but their stifling defense inside the three-point line is their calling card. Senior Boogie Ellis and Drew Peterson, the only two players on the team to average the double figures this scoring season. USC lacks bench depth. I think that goes to tell you that it's probably going to be Michigan State winning this one. I know USC could be a great storyline for anybody, but I just don't necessarily see it whatsoever. Marquette versus UMV. Marquette, Shaka Smart doing a great job, 7-2 against the top 25. Again, playing in a very tough conference that they're in, scoring a lot of points, 17-3, 13 BPI. I just think that they're one of the fastest teams on offense. And this is going to be a great run for them. I know Tyler Kolek is one of their best guards, and again, guard play to me is huge. If you're not picking the Marquette, I don't even know what they are. Whatever their mascot is, you're picking Marquette. And there is no ifs, ands, or buts about that situation. Let's see here. Purdue versus Memphis. This is going to be one of my first upsets here in the tournament. Memphis, I think, is going to win against Purdue. I look at it and everything that it goes to tell you that Memphis should have won, but the Penny Hardaway effect is the real deal. Beat a very good Houston team. Even though their star player was out for Houston, it was still a great win for Memphis. It was still, I believe, a double-digit win at the end of it. How can you not root against Memphis? I just think that they're playing very well. And they obviously gave Gonzaga some trouble a couple years back. So to me, I just think Memphis is going to do the same thing. I got Memphis winning this game. And then we got Duke versus Tennessee. I got the Duke Blue Devils winning this game. I think Duke, if there's anything that Duke can do in this region, especially the East, I think they can win this game. I think they are a strong 5 seed. They'll beat Tennessee. I don't necessarily see Tennessee as a top 4 team in that region. I think they're a fraudulent 4 team, and how can you not? Again, people may hate Duke, people may love Duke, but at the end of the day, the Duke Blue Devils are going to win this game against Tennessee, and we'll see in a second what I think about that matchup between Duke and Memphis. Kentucky versus Kansas State. I got to go Kansas State. I think Kentucky's a solid team, but at the end of the day, I think Kentucky, there's something off about this team. I just don't think Coach K makes the adjustments that are needed for this team to win or do anything like that. And so to me, Kansas State for sure is going to be a top-notch team. And I don't necessarily see Kentucky making any sort of significant improvements there. So, I got Kansas State winning that game for sure. Michigan State versus Marquette. Give me Marquette. I believe they're the Golden Eagles. Give me the Golden Eagles. 7-2, 13 in KP and BPI. Again, a really top team in the KPOM ratings. Great guard play. How can you not love Shaka Smart? Shaka Smart has revitalized this Marquette team, and I got Marquette winning it and going in to the Sweet 16. Memphis versus Duke. I think that this is going to be a little bit of a tougher matchup than I think a lot of people realized. Again, two similar teams. I think Duke does a little bit better job defensively. BPI ranking tells you that Duke should win it and everything like that. I'm probably going to lean towards Duke winning this game. I just think Duke's got a little bit of that extra sauce going. I think they can make a little bit of a semi-deep run. They obviously have a new coach and everything like that. And so I think that's what's going to happen there. Marquette versus Kansas State. Give me Marquette. Shaka Smart effect. I think he's going to carry this team a little bit further than a lot of people realized. And then this is where I think a lot of people might say, you know, with the prestige and pedigree of Duke, they're going to win this game. No, sir. I got Marquette making a surprise run. I know Marquette's a 2 seed. It doesn't seem that surprising. But I got Marquette winning this and getting to their first. I don't know if they've ever gone to the Final Four before, but this is going to be a team that's going to make a deep run. I got Marquette in the Final Four against Arizona. 2 number 2 seeds. I don't know if that's ever happened before, but I think in this region, I think it just makes sense moving forward for this whole situation at hand. So let me know in the comment section down below. What do you guys make of my East region? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comment section down below. What do you guys make of Marquette making it to the East region and being the Final Four in that region? Excuse me. Let's see here. We can move on to, again, I believe this is the Midwest region. Let's move on to that region. Again, the Midwest, starting off with Houston, number 1 overall Houston against Norfolk State, I believe is what this team is. Houston, I just think that they're elite. Defensively, they're solid. Offensively, they're going to dominate inside. Outside is where it's going to be a little bit of an issue. But at the end of the day, if we look at kind of the rankings here, first in BPI, 17-1 in the conference, 1-1 versus the top 25. Everything tells you that it's Houston's way, and I'm going to go with Houston winning this one very solidly and very handily. This one is going to be a very interesting one as well. We have Iowa versus Auburn. Auburn 2-3 against the top 25. Iowa 3-2. My concern, of course, is going to come from the Big Ten. I'm just not sure that Iowa is a solid Big Ten team. They score a lot of points, but they also give up a lot of points. This is going to be a team where if you can get offensively, the younger brother of Keegan Murray, I believe Chris Murray is his name, get him going. I think you could have some solid situations. You got McCaffrey there as well. I just think that this is just something where, to me, Iowa, I want to go against the Big Ten. I really do. But something's telling me that Iowa's going to win this game. They score a lot of points compared to Auburn. I'm going to go with Iowa. Gut tells me that they'll be okay. They just need to be offensively efficient for Iowa. If they are, they're going to win this game. But again, I'm not so sure about it. And the other thing, too, that we need to know about Auburn, they finished 3-8 in the season. Early exit from the SEC tournament. That kind of goes to tell you that this team might be spent. And so I have them losing this game. Let's go to Miami versus Drake. I got Miami winning this game. BPI 36 versus 55. 3-1 against the top 25. Drake with 1 win against the top 25. They score a lot of points. They may give up a lot of points. And I just think, again, it's going to be one of those interesting situations. If we look at kind of the facts that ESPN gives us here, Drake is led by an experienced 5 whose average age is over 23 years old. The youngest of them is 20-year-old Tucker DeVries, a dangerous shooter at 39% from 3, who has the Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Year. The Bulldogs take good care of the ball thanks to point guard Roman Penn, who is nearly a 3-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. That's obviously going to be a great thing to see. And again, Drake could potentially be a bracket buster, as this thing goes on to say. But as Miami, it says Isaiah Wong helped the team on a nice run last season. He's back at it again this season, this time as a true threat from distance. The lack of size on this roster makes the Hurricanes vulnerable on the defensive end, but a few offenses are this consistent and gives them the ability to compete with the best teams in the nation, as they are number 1 in KPOM. I mean, give me Miami. I think Miami wins this game. They could be in a little bit of trouble moving forward, but I just think Miami's going to be able to do it. And so we'll see what happens from here on out. Let me know if you guys think that Drake could potentially be an upset for the Miami Hurricanes. Indiana versus Kent. This is a potential upset game. I think Kent is a very good team that has played some top teams very tight, notably the Gonzaga Bulldogs. They played it very tight. Indiana's in the top 50 for KPOM offensive and defensive. I know that the Golden Flashes are undersized a little bit, but to me, what could potentially be an X factor for them is the fact that they have a very experienced guard in Sinceri Carey. Sinceri Carey. Hopefully I pronounced that name right. I'm sorry if I just butchered that. Sinceri Carey averaging about 18 points per game. To me, when you have a guard that averages that much compared to Indiana, who has a very good big and guard, but they're very inexperienced. And I think that's going to get them in a little bit of trouble. And that's why I got Indiana losing, and I got Kent State pulling up the upset there and winning that game against Indiana. Iowa State versus either Mississippi State or Pittsburgh. Again, one of the stronger defensive teams in the nation. I just think that when we look at it, they're 9-5 versus top 25. Again, they played in a very tough conference. Not scoring a lot of points is kind of their big issue, and that could potentially be trouble for them, especially depending on if it's Mississippi State or Pittsburgh. That could be a game that could potentially be a flip-flop for me. I am going to put Iowa State in there for now, but I need to see what team is going to come out of that, because if it's... I feel like if it's Pitt, I think they might have a shot, but Mississippi State could be a little bit of an issue. Again, I need to watch those two teams as they play the game, so I will be monitoring that situation as it pertains to who I'm going to pick in that game. But for now, I got Iowa State. Xavier versus Ken. I mean, to me, this kind of goes to show that I think Xavier is going to win this game. I think the problem with them is that they're, again, they're one of the most experienced teams, as the Musketeers are. But defensively, I think is one of their bigger issues. Again, they give up 74 points a game. That tells you that they're susceptible to getting, bleeding points that they shouldn't be. BPI, they're 21st. They're 15-5 in conference. They score a lot of points. I don't necessarily see an upset here. I got Xavier winning this game and going against either Iowa State, Mississippi State, or Pittsburgh in that matchup. Texas A&M versus Penn State. I think Penn State is a surprising team to a lot of people because of the run that they made. I think Texas A&M is another surprising team, and why I don't think they should have been a higher seed is crazy to me. They made such a big run in the tournament. I'm very surprised and also confused at this situation. Again, offensively, they're not the strongest team. I think that they struggled mightily against Alabama, and that just might be because Alabama's such a great defensive team. But my concern would also be that Penn State has had a really big run in the tournament, and they are a very three-point heavy set team. Like, they will really look to shoot the three. That's their biggest strength for this team. I'm going to go with Texas A&M. I trust the Aggies a little bit more. I think they're going to make a couple big plays, especially with the way that this team likes to take charges. I think that that's going to be a huge X factor for them. And to me, why I think that Texas A&M will win this game, and why I think that they could potentially make a big run depending on how things go for them and what matchups they get. Texas versus Colgate. I think Texas is another big winner that a lot of people are picking to go far in their tournament, especially the Final Four. That's kind of what I've been seeing. That's what I kind of been hearing. And so to me, when I look at Texas versus Colgate, I always want to pick Colgate because as a coach, I got introduced to them by our head coach, watched their film, love the stuff that they run. Unfortunately, every year I pick them, every year that happens, they continuously lose. And I just think it's just the tough matchup that they get up against. I love the stuff that they run. I think they are coached awesomely. I think this year they went 31-3, I believe, or 26-8. Not as strong. They lost to their only top 25 team. 17-1 in conference. But I got to go with the Hook'em Horns. I just don't necessarily see Colgate winning this game. Again, if they could get matched up and get a little bit of a higher seed, I think they have a chance. But we'll see what happens in the near future. Again, Colgate, really good team. Love their stuff offensively. Unfortunately, they just don't have the matchup that they need in order to win these games. And then moving back here, Houston versus Iowa. Definitely got Houston winning that game. And then we got Miami versus Kent. I got Miami winning this. Xavier versus any of these teams. Give me Xavier. And then Texas A&M versus Texas could be a potentially interesting game. I think both of these teams kind of match up pretty well. Texas A&M is 4-1 against top 25 teams, whereas Texas is 9-6. I know that might be skewed because they play in the Big 12. Sorry, they play in the Big 12 versus SEC. Not as many top schools in the SEC, especially it might be early in the season. SEC is tough compared to Texas, where the Big 10 or Big 12 was consistently the best conference by far none. This is a toss-up. My heart is telling me Texas A&M. Head is telling me Texas. I'm going to go with Texas winning this game and moving on to the next round. I got Houston versus Texas. And again, this is a Lone Star State affair. Both these teams are very solid. Again, both these teams are going to play very well. But to me, Houston runs a great program. I got to go with them in the Final Four. Give me Houston in this bracket and part of the region. Let me know if I got that right. Let me know if I got that wrong. Houston winning it. Texas A&M could potentially make a sneaky dark horse to kind of at least make it to the Elite Eight. But they're going to need a lot of things to go right for them. And especially against Texas. Could potentially happen, but I don't necessarily see that happening. And so for me, I got Houston winning this. And so that is who I'm going to pick for this part of the region in the Midwest. Let me know in the comment section down below. What am I right? Am I wrong? Let me know. Alrighty. And last but not least, let's move on to the final region, the West region. I think that this is going to be a tough region to dissect. Kansas State versus Howard. I don't think that there's any issues other than Bill Self's health. I think that's kind of been the biggest X factor for what's going to happen with Kansas. Again, 7-7 versus the top 25. Again, Big 12, really tough conference. I get it. This team scores a lot of points. They give up very few points. BPI, they're number 9 in the rankings, 13-5 in conference. Howard, solid team, 22-12. But at the end of the day, I got the Jayhawks winning that one in a double-digit win. Arkansas versus Illinois. So I think this is going to be a very interesting situation. Razorbacks, very good defensively. Offensively, very inconsistent. The Fighting Illini, strong defensive team. Not a very good three-point shooting team. This could be a low state of affairs. Give me Illinois in this one. I got Illinois. I just think Arkansas, they have some star-studded players, but offensively, I'm worried about them. I got Illinois as they kind of also dismantled some teams as well in the top 25. And so that's who I got winning this one. All right, here we go. St. Mary's versus VCU. This is going to be a very tough battle because both teams are very good defensively, very mediocre offensively, scoring barely over 70 points a game. This is going to come down to who's going to be hot and who's not. Again, if we kind of look at this stuff here, Randy Bennett's squad makes the tournament for its second straight season. The Gales are one of the most nation's best defensively led squads. And you know all about this stuff. Led by the West Coast Conference Defensive Player of the Year, Logan Johnson. They pressure the ball, but scoring is something that's very hard for them. And again, VCU Rams, they could potentially be a team that could potentially have an upset situation here. I think it bodes well for an upset here because the VCU also struggles to score offensively, and so does St. Mary's. And so this could be a toss-up game. Another toss-up one I'm saying here. I'm going to go with VCU with the upset win over St. Mary's. I just think that this has it written all over it. I just think that with inconsistencies from St. Mary's offensively, that this could be spell some trouble for the Gales. UConn versus Iona. The rumors of Rick Pitino joining the Big East is starting to heat up. The UConn Huskies are a team that a lot of people are liking as their dark horse to win this tournament. BPI ranking gives them that confidence. 3-5 against the top 25. They score a lot of points. They give up very few points. They have a pretty solid team. And again, this goes on to say that they were unranked at the start. Excuse me. They were unranked at the start of the season, but under coach Dan Hurley's squad, they opened 14-0 before settling into conference schedule. UConn is the nation's best team on the offensive glass. Sonogo, a great offensive rebounder. The Huskies also boast a reliable offense both inside and outside the arc. Iona, I know Rick Pitino's coaching them. I know that he wants to make a deep run, but it's going to be tough. And I got UConn winning that game against Iona. TCU versus Arizona State or Nevada. Give me TCU. I think that this is going to be a solid game as well. But again, I'm not here to really see what's going to be going on for this team. Again, TCU struggles offensively. If we look at the numbers again, points per game, 67.9 points per game. The points per game they give up is 67.9, and their own scores are 75.2, 6-7 in conference. Yeah, just give me them. I think that's going to be an easy win. The Gonzaga Bulldogs versus GCU. The Zags return the best offense in the nation. The Zags are definitely a top-rated team in this conference or in this part of the region. They're returning their star players. My concern with them is their three-point shooting and a little bit of their shaky guard play. Give me Gonzaga in this game. I don't necessarily think that they're going to struggle against them, but what's concerning to me a little bit about Gonzaga is going to be moving forward in the tournament and what is going to happen with their guard play. I'm concerned about that part of their team, but nevertheless, they're going to obviously win the first game in the first round. NU versus Boise. Give me Boise in this game. I think that this bodes well for them. Again, offensively, NU does not score the ball very well. 67.7, under 70 points a game. They may give up the fewest points, but I'm not sold on them. Give me Boise State. Offensively, they score a little bit more, and that's who I'm going to trust in this tournament. UCLA versus UNCA. I believe this is University of North Carolina, Asheville. Give me UCLA. I love the great guard play of Amari Bailey, and I believe Bernard is the other guy. Jaime Jaquez, player of the year for the Pac-12. He's awesome. He's tremendous. Super solid. I think they have a team that could potentially make a deep run. And Amari Bailey could be a bigger X factor than Johnny Juzang or Johnny Buckets. Let me know if I'm right or wrong in the comment section down below. I'm getting that vibe from him. And so to me, give me UCLA in this game. And let's move on to ranking our Final Four here. Kansas definitely going to win this game. I don't see them not winning this game. UConn versus VCU. Give me UConn in this game. TCU versus Gonzaga. Give me Gonzaga. And UCLA Boise. Give me UCLA. And here's where it gets a little tricky. I think that depending on the health of Bill Self, UConn will definitely make a run here. But I don't think that this is necessarily where the Final Four team is going to come from. I actually think it's going to come from this game down here. To me, this is an Elite Eight Final Four matchup. I'm very upset that they didn't save this for a later game down the line. Like, they should have made Gonzaga a 2 seed or a 4 seed just so these two teams would match up in the later rounds. Gonzaga versus UCLA. This is a tough one. Both teams are very solid. 4-4, the Gonzaga Bulldogs are against the top 25. 3-4 for the UCLA Bruins. This is tough. But I'm going to go with UCLA because I just trust their offensive game more. And I just think that with the offensive guards that they have, UCLA will win this game single-handedly. And from here, I got UCLA making it to the Final Four. And this is kind of what I have so far for the Final Four. I got Arizona, Marquette versus Houston and UCLA. A lot of 2 seeds. I don't know if this has ever been done before, but this is the matchup that I have here for the Charge. Let me know in the comment section down below. Am I right? Am I wrong for the West region? I'd love to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Alrighty, moving on to the Final Four. 4 teams remaining. Arizona versus Marquette. Houston versus UCLA. Sorry, Shark is smart. I'm going with Arizona going to the final. Again, I think they have all the recipe for a great win. And I just think that this is potentially going to be a very good, competitive, awesome game. I potentially could see this being potentially being game of the year in a sense, other than maybe the Gonzaga UCLA game for a round 2 matchup. And give me UCLA winning against Houston. I think Houston's a great team. I know the guy's going to come back from the injury, but something about UCLA, I like the team and the makeup of them. Amari Bailey, X Factor, I think could potentially carry this team. And we basically got another repeat of the Pac-12 championship game here with Arizona versus UCLA. Give me Arizona winning this. I know UCLA is a tough team, but with the way that things are done, I got this going 68-65 in a nail-biter win. Arizona wins this game 68-65. Arizona are your national champs. Let me know in the comment section down below. Am I right? Am I wrong? I know that my friends are going to harass me about this. Gonzaga Bulldog fans are going to attack me. But I got Arizona winning this in a very competitive matchup. And again, another repeat of the Pac-12 championship. I just think that both these teams match up very well. And I just think that this is going to be a fun and awesome game. Let's see here. We got some people coming in through there. Drunk, don't sleep on Mizzou and Memphis. I got Memphis making a Final Four run. Yeah, Drunk, I had them. I don't know what time you got in here, and you can kind of see here in my tournament. Pick them. Bro, you got the Pac-12 national champs. Gross. Hey, man, I think UCLA's got a good team. They got a great player, and they got good guard play. And according to their KPOM ratings, if we look at UCLA in the KPOM ratings, let me see where they're at. Again, top 25 offense, number 1 defense. That's got to account for something, man. And so I got them going on a big run. Memphis versus Duke was kind of like my big game, Drunk. I think that this could potentially be a toss-up game. Memphis with Penny Hardaway is going to make a huge run, and they could potentially beat the Duke Blue Devils. You know, this Blue Devils team is not very good. In terms of, I think that they're still a very young team. They've kind of grown into it, but they could eventually lose this game against Memphis. But at the same time, give me the Duke Blue Devils in that game, and give me Arizona as the national champs. And we'll fill that information out later. But that is what it's going to be. Arizona winning this game. Let me know in the comment section down below. Am I right? Am I wrong? I want also to see what you guys pick for your tournament winners, as I think that this could potentially be a very interesting NCAA March Madness tournament. We know how different and how interesting this tournament can be, especially with the way that there's not really a top team in this conference or even in this whole tournament. So anything can happen. But anyway, guys, that is going to do it here for the Charge. Thank you once again for joining us here, giving you the latest NBA news and rumors and also basketball opinions. Let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll catch everybody on the next episode of The Charge. Like I said, let me know what I got right or wrong in this bracket, because I want to know what your guys' opinion of